Hey there, friends. So it's that time of year where we start thinking about gifts that we're going to give to those important people in our lives. This video is really aimed at people who are looking for ideas for the new woodworker, either brand new woodworker or somebody who has expressed interest in transitioning from power tools to hand tools. Uh, there are going to be links to all of these things down below, just so you know that if you click on some of the links, I may get a commission from them. There's other links down there, though, that I have no affiliation with whatsoever. So, and I'll let you know which ones those are. So let's dive in. All right. First thing I want to talk to you about is chisels. So if you go into your woodworker shop and you find a chisel that looks like this, plastic handle or resin handle, particularly if it's got a metal cap on it, this is designed for removing a lot of wood fast, striking it with a metal hammer. So it's really a construction grade chisel. Fine blade, you can get it nice and sharp, but the problem is it's top heavy and it's designed to be gripped very firmly like this and just wailed on with a hammer. The chisels that we need as woodworkers are almost more delicate, okay? Because rather than holding your chisel up here like this, because you're doing very detailed work, very fine work, you're typically holding the chisel down here. So as you put a piece of wood on there and you have your mark, you're going to very carefully place the chisel on that mark, and then you're going to use either a wooden mallet or a soft head mallet, and your taps are a lot softer. Okay? These chisels are very well balanced, feel good in the hand, and this is probably the single biggest improvement in my woodworking is when I went from these chisels to these. Uh, there's going to be links to a couple of different chisels down there. They're all good. Anytime you get into a premium brand chisel, you can't go wrong. But I'm going to link to a couple of different ones. This is the Narex Richter. And they use fancy words like cryogenically treated chromium vanadium steel with an HR62 hardness rating. Most of that means nothing, at least means nothing to me. What's important about this particular chisel is every chisel that comes out of the factory, comes out of the manufacturing process, has a slight bend to it. It's either got a hollow on the back or it's got a belly. And every time you get chisels, you need to take your stone and flatten the back. The reason I like this particular chisel, the Narex Richter, is it comes from the factory pre-ground on the back and flat. Really, all you have to do is put a final edge on it with your honing, and you're good to go. Other chisels, you may have to spend a little extra time prepping them and getting them ready to go, but it's really not that big a deal. So these are the Narex Richter. These are the chisels that I use, but I'm going to put links to some other ones down below as well. There'll be links for a complete set of chisels, but also individual chisels. So if your budget does not allow for a complete set of chisels, you can buy them one at a time and maybe do a chisel for every gift season. And if you're only going to buy one, I would recommend starting with the 1/2-inch chisel. For me, that's the most flexible one. Allows you to get into some dados in there, clean out your dovetails and things like that. So if you need one chisel, get the 1/2-inch. If you can afford the whole set, the links will be down below for that. Again, a couple of different grades. They're all good chisels. You can't go wrong there. All right, to go along with the chisels, you're going to need a good sharpening system. Again, it doesn't have to be an expensive system. I use this Trend Diamond Stone. It's got the rough side. This actually 300 grit on one side, 1,000 grit on the other. Does a perfectly fine job. Others You know, you'll watch other videos out there and they'll want you to go even higher than that. Eventually you may want that, but to start out, a 300 grit and 1000 grit stone will do just fine. The 300 grit, remember I talked a little bit about flattening the back. If you have to flatten the back, you have to do shaping. You would do that with the 300. Then the 1000 grit allows you to do your final honing and get that razor sharp edge on there. The 1000 grit will get you to razor sharp. Check this morning, and there was a Black Friday deal going on this. Link will be down below. Along with the diamond plate, you'll get a bag, a non-slip surface that you can use it right on your bench. You'll get a cleaning block, which is really nothing more than an eraser, but it helps you keep that clean. So it's really, this is a pretty good deal on this. I think it was like $49, almost half of what I originally paid for this. So good deal. Check that out. Along with the diamond plate, so the diamond plate should come first. After that, you're going to need some kind of stropping system. What I have is the Beaver Creek or Beaver Craft strop. It comes with the leather strop. I glue it down just to give a nice solid surface. This also comes with your honing compound that you can charge up that. It's good to go. After you have used your 1000 grit stone, you come over here to your strop, and this is really what takes you to that polished razor edge. Most woodworkers, myself included, underestimate the value of stropping when you're first starting out. But if you're stropping on a regular basis, you actually reduce the amount of time you have to spend sharpening. So, you know, every few minutes, come in with your strop and you're good to go. Trend diamond stone, Beavercraft stropping. Okay. All right, the next item in level of significance, in my opinion, is the saws that you use. A new woodworker is actually going to need 3 saws. If you're using the traditional style saws, you're going to need a dovetail saw, which has a fairly small blade here, very fine teeth, and this is used for cutting out your, let's see, cutting out your dovetails. Okay, dovetails are a rite of passage for every woodworker. So first saw that I would buy for a new woodworker is a dovetail saw. All right, this particular one is the Veritas saw, comes from Lee Valley Hardware. Again, the link will be down below, but this is my favorite saw, and I have no affiliation with them whatsoever. I don't even get a commission. You know, they don't offer commission programs, so I can recommend this saw and get absolutely nothing from it. So this is a great saw. It is not really traditional. It's traditional size and shape, but it's got this resin background here, which is lighter than a traditional dovetail saw. To me, I like that. Other people may, you know, they may like the traditional look themselves, but I highly recommend this. So saw number 1, dovetail saw. Saw number 2 is a carcass saw, and this one is designed for cutting across the grain. So you would grab like this is called a bench hook, and if you're going to use your carcass saw, you would come in and cut across the grain this way. Right? The teeth are ground differently. They're ground differently between what's called a rip cut, when you're going straight down, versus across. So that's why you need a different saw for this. This one is ground to cut smoothly across the grain. So carcass saw. The third saw that they're going to need is called a tenon saw. In my opinion, this is very much a nice to have, but this one would come later. It does the same job as the dovetail saw, except you can see it's much larger. The teeth are rougher, and this is designed for cutting out the shoulders of your tenon. So you're doing much longer cuts, deeper cuts, things like that. So you can buy these saws as a group, all three saws. And of course, there'll be a link for that. You can buy them individually. So what I would recommend is if you're buying them individually, you go with the dovetail saw first, you go with a carcass saw second, and a tenon saw third. Okay, again, links down below. All right, next item I want to talk to you about is some type of marking tool. This is a modern design marking tool. It's got the brass plate here on the front. It's got a carbide tip cutter here. It's got the rule along there. This is a great tool. And what you'll do is when you set out the distance that you want, you firmly put it against there and you score a line here. This is a case where I think modern designs are actually better than traditional signs because of this carbide cutter here. There's a couple of different varieties in here. One is the single blade, where you'll do one at a time. The other one is more of a mortise. I don't own one of those, but those are actually pretty cool because it will have two cutters, and you can set your mortise and make both cuts at the same time. So this is of all the gifts, this is on the lower end of it. Very handy tool. Again, most woodworkers don't realize how valuable this is at first, but once you get used to it, it's really indispensable. All right, last thing I want to talk to you about today is the marking knife. So when we first start woodworking, what we'll do is we'll grab a pencil, we'll grab our square and mark a line across that. Acceptable way of doing things. The problem is that the pencil lead, as you're marking, gets dull and you start drifting away from your line. And that's where the marking knife comes in. Because the marking knife then is going to be much more precise, and it's right up against that wall. So you come in, you do your mark, do 1, 2, 3, get you a nice deep score there. Very, very precise. Again, most woodworkers, they're going to grab the pencil, they're going to do that, and they think they're fine, but they need to transition into a marking knife. When you're looking at marking knives, you have double bevel and single bevel, meaning this knife is beveled on both sides. So as the woodworker is doing the cut, they are going to have to angle the knife. Okay. I personally like that. Most woodworkers, though, don't. What they want is a knife that runs perfectly vertical like this. So that's a single bevel. It's only beveled on one side. Okay. And very, very precise tool. I'll leave, again, a link down to both styles. This is a flex cut, actually carving knife that I use, but then there's some very nice single bevel marking knives out there. All right, friends, I hope this helps. A couple of ideas for you. These are tools that a woodworker needs. These are not, gimmicks. These are not nice to have. These are tools that are going to help them take their woodworking to the next level. So if you've made it this far, I would appreciate you clicking on the links. Even if you don't buy anything, just clicking those links does help the channel. So I would appreciate that. But if there's something that you found useful here, if you end up buying through those links, I may get a small commission from them. So hope everybody has a great holiday season. Happy Thanksgiving. Merry Christmas coming up. God bless.